All right, you sick fucks, buckle up. We're diving into the goddamn Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. Think you know them. Think again. We're going deep, unearthing the dirt and the glory, the scandals and the shootouts.
We'll be pulling no punches. We're examining their mission, priorities, and of course that fat budget they've got. We'll dissect their history. From busting mobsters like Dillinger to COINTELPRO and those juicy January 6th revelations, get ready for some mind-blowing shit about the FBI you won't find in your history books.
Let's cut the crap. What the hell does the FBI actually do? Besides making headlines for all the wrong reasons, I mean.
Well, they are the main federal law enforcement agency in the U.S., right? They protect against terrorism, foreign spies, cybercrime, and all sorts of shady shit. They're like the G-men on steroids.
And they've got the cash to back it up. I bet their budget is bigger than a Kardashian's ass.
You're damn right. In 2021, it was almost $10 billion.
10 billion? Jesus.
Yeah. $10 billion. We'll break down where those billions go and what taxpayers are getting for their money a little bit later, but for now, let's rewind this shit.
Okay. So when did this whole FBI circus begin?
Way back in 1908, man.
1908.
It started as the Bureau of Investigation, the BOI.
The BOI.
Yeah, and got a name change in 1935.
Okay.
They've taken down gangsters, uncovered spies, and even messed with civil rights leaders. Prepare to be shocked.
Dillinger. That's old school, man. Was the FBI just all about busting mobsters back then?
Oh, hell yeah. Back in those days, organized crime was the name of the game.
Right.
Guys like Dillinger, Babyface Nelson, Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
They were public enemy #1, and the FBI was coming for them with a vengeance. Those were the OG G-men, the real-life untouchables, taking down these notorious motherfuckers who were robbing banks, kidnapping people, leaving a trail of bodies behind them.
Damn. Sounds like a goddamn action movie. So who is the mastermind behind all this?
You're talking about J. Edgar Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover.
The OG badass who ran the FBI for almost 50 years. He shaped the Bureau into what it is today, for better or for worse. And believe me, there's a lot of worse to unpack here. The dude had more skeletons in his closet than a goddamn graveyard. We're talking dirty secrets, shady dealings, the whole 9 yards.
All right, spill the tea. What kind of shady shit was Hoover up to?
First off, the guy was obsessed with national security. I mean, to the point where he was willing to piss on the Constitution.
Yeah.
Like, that time during World War II when he pushed for the internment of Japanese Americans.
They rounded up Japanese Americans.
Yep. After Pearl Harbor, Hoover convinced President Roosevelt that Japanese Americans were a threat.
Seriously.
Even though there wasn't a shred of evidence.
Wow.
Boom. Thousands of innocent people, American citizens, ripped from their homes, thrown into internment camps, and the FBI was right there leading the charge.
Fucked up, man. And Hoover just kept on rolling after that.
Oh, yeah. This dude had more tricks up his sleeve than a goddamn magician. He was paranoid as hell about communists.
Ah, the commies.
Thought they were everywhere, like cockroaches just waiting to destroy America.
So he started rounding up commies, too.
Not exactly rounding them up, but he got damn close. He created this program called COINTELPRO.
COINTELPRO.
Which basically gave the FBI free rein to spy on anyone they considered a threat.
Uh-huh. And who was at the top of that list?
Let me guess. Commies.
Bingo! But it wasn't just communists.
Oh.
The FBI went after civil rights groups, anti-war activists, even environmentalists.
Seriously.
If you were speaking out against the government, chances are Hoover's boys were watching your every goddamn move.
Hold on, you're telling me the FBI was spying on American citizens? Isn't that, illegal?
They were tapping phones, reading mail, bugging hotel rooms, infiltrating organizations, spreading disinformation. They used every dirty trick in the book to disrupt these groups. They were operating outside the law, and Hoover was the puppet master.
So this COINTELPRO shit, how far did it go?
It went way beyond spying. They'd plant false evidence, spread rumors, and even try to blackmail people to ruin their reputations.
Wow. They even targeted Martin Luther King Jr. trying to destroy the civil rights movement.
They went after MLK. What the fuck?
Yep. They tapped his phones, bugged his hotel rooms, and even tried to blackmail him with recordings of his alleged affairs. They even sent him an anonymous letter suggesting he kill himself. Talk about crossing the line.
Jesus.
It was a brutal attempt to silence one of the most important voices of the 20th century.
That's some seriously fucked up shit. How the hell did this program stay hidden for so long?
It all came crashing down in the early 70s when some activists broke into an FBI office and stole files exposing the whole goddamn program.
Lusted.
The public was outraged, Congress launched investigations, and COINTELPRO was finally shut down.
But the damage was done, right? The FBI's reputation was tarnished, and people started questioning their motives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that distrust has lingered to this day. It's a dark stain on the FBI's history. A reminder that even the most powerful institutions can be corrupted by paranoia and a thirst for control.
All right, so we've established that Hoover was a power-hungry, paranoid asshole who turned the FBI into his personal secret police force.
Yeah.
What happened after he finally kicked the bucket? Did they try to clean up their act?
Oh, Hoover's death, it was like goddamn exorcism for the Bureau, man. They had to clean up their act.
Yeah.
At least on the surface. New leadership came in trying to shift the focus back to, traditional law enforcement, organized crime, drugs, that kind of shit.
Sounds boring as hell compared to the Hoover days. Did they at least manage to stay out of trouble?
Not a chance. They stumbled into some major fuck-ups.
Like what?
The Waco siege in 93, the Ruby Ridge standoff in 92.
Waco, that whole cult thing with David Koresh?
Yeah.
The FBI was involved in that.
Up to their eyeballs. It started as a raid by the ATF.
ATF, what those booze hounds?
Yeah, but the FBI jumped in, and things went sideways faster than a goddamn drunk driver. That siege, it dragged on for weeks, man, and ended in a fiery shootout that took out dozens of people, including women and children.
Jesus Christ. Okay, and Ruby Ridge, what was that all about?
Another goddamn disaster. It started with a weapons charge against this guy, Randy Weaver, some kind of mountain man, but it escalated into an 11-day standoff with the FBI. Weaver's wife and son were killed, along with a U.S. Marshal.
Shit.
It was a PR nightmare for the FBI, and it fueled a whole lot of anti-government paranoia.
Right, so the FBI was pretty much screwing up on a regular basis. Then 9/11 happened and everything changed.
Yeah.
New World Order.
9/11 was a game changer, man. Suddenly, the FBI was in the spotlight, expected to prevent another attack. Counterterrorism became their top priority. They threw a shit ton of money and manpower at it.
So they went from chasing mobsters to hunting terrorists. Did they even have the right skill set for that?
They had to learn fast, man. New skills, new partnerships, new technology. The whole damn playbook had to be rewritten.
Right.
They had to figure out how to track down these shadowy figures, these goddamn ghosts who are operating in a completely different world.
And this whole war on terror thing, it gave them a lot more power, right?
Yeah.
I bet they were loving that.
Oh, yeah. The Patriot Act basically handed them a blank check. They could track phone calls, emails, internet activity, anything they thought might lead them to a terrorist.
Sounds like a privacy nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
What were they doing with all this new technology and authority?
They were building massive databases, collecting information on millions of people, like some kind of goddamn Orwellian fever dream.
Right.
They were infiltrating online communities, trying to identify potential threats. They even started working closely with foreign intelligence agencies, sharing information, chasing terrorists across the globe.
So they basically became like this global spy network. It sounds pretty badass, but also kind of creepy. Did they actually catch any terrorists?
They had their successes.
Yeah.
They disrupted plots, arrested suspects, played a role in keeping America safe.
Right.
But they also made their share of mistakes. Wrongful arrests, botched investigations, even accusations of torture.
Hold on, torture. The FBI was torturing people.
After 9/11, the Bush administration authorized enhanced interrogation techniques.
Enhanced interrogation techniques. Come on, man, cut the bullshit.
Which is a fancy way of saying torture.
Right.
On suspected terrorists. And the FBI was sometimes involved in those interrogations.
Jesus, what the hell were they doing?
Right.
Waterboarding, sleep deprivation, all that shit.
I'm not going to get into specifics, but let's just say there were a lot of accusations of abuse.
Yeah.
It definitely tarnished the FBI's reputation and raised some serious questions about their methods.
Yeah. Sounds like they were crossing the line again.
Yeah.
So what's the FBI focused on these days? Still chasing terrorists in caves.
Counterterrorism is still a big part of their gig, but they've had to adapt to new threats.
Yeah.
Cybercrime. It's a goddamn epidemic now, and the FBI is on the front lines of that fight. They're also dealing with the rise of domestic terrorism, white supremacist groups, all sorts of extremist nut jobs.
So they've got their hands full.
Oh, yeah. Busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest.
I bet.
And they're still dealing with the fallout from their past fuck-ups. The public is more skeptical than ever, and there are constant calls for more transparency and accountability.
Transparency from the FBI. That's about as likely as finding a virgin in a whorehouse.
True. But the pressure's on, man. People want to know what the hell they're doing, how they're doing it, why they're doing it.
Okay, so we've talked about the FBI's history, their mission, all the shady shit they've been involved in. But what about the people? Who are these FBI agents anyway? Are they all, like, straight-laced Boy Scouts like we see in the movies?
Nah, man. They come from all walks of life. Lawyers, accountants, scientists, former military.
Really?
You name it. They've even got psychics and magicians on the payroll.
Wait, psychics and magicians? What the fuck? Are they running a goddamn circus over there?
The FBI has a long history of consulting with all sorts of unconventional experts. They're not afraid to think outside the box, even if that box is filled with crystal balls and goddamn rabbits.
All right, so what does it take to become one of these G-men? Is it like joining the Navy SEALs? Do you have to eat nails for breakfast?
It's tough, man. You gotta be smart, fit, have a squeaky clean record.
Yeah.
They put you through a rigorous background check, polygraph tests, psychological evaluations, the whole goddamn shebang. And then there's the training at the FBI Academy.
Yeah, I've heard that place is intense.
Intense is an understatement. It's 21 weeks of physical and mental challenges, learning everything from firearms and hand-to-hand combat to criminal psychology and interrogation techniques. They basically turn you into a human Swiss Army knife.
So they're trained killers.
Let's just say they're not afraid to use force when necessary, but they're also trained to de-escalate situations, to negotiate, to use their brains as much as their brawn.
Okay, but they're still packing heat, right? What kind of firepower are we talking about?
Nowadays, they mostly carry Glocks, standard 9mm, but they've also got shotguns, rifles, snipers.
Damn.
The whole goddamn arsenal if they need it.
So these guys are walking armories.
Power and responsibility, man. That's the FBI motto.
Right.
They've got a lot of power and a huge responsibility to use it wisely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground about the FBI, but there's one thing we haven't talked about. Their successes. They got to be doing something right.
Of course, man. They've got a long history of busting criminals, protecting America from threats, and solving some of the most complex cases in history.
Give me some examples. I need something to restore my faith in these bastards.
Well, let's start with organized crime. They've been instrumental in dismantling the mafia, taking down drug cartels, and disrupting all sorts of criminal enterprises. They've also played a major role in counterterrorism, foiling plots and bringing terrorists to justice.
Okay, that's all well and good, but what about something more recent? Something that shows they're still relevant in this crazy, messed up world?
Well, they've been doing a lot of work in the cybersecurity realm.
Cybersecurity, huh?
Taking down hackers, disrupting online scams, and protecting critical infrastructure from attacks. They're also playing a bigger role in fighting human trafficking, which is a global scourge.
So they're not just sitting around jerking off all day?
Hell no! The FBI is busier than a one-armed paper hanger.
Okay.
They're constantly evolving, adapting to new threats, and finding new ways to keep America safe.
I'm starting to feel a little better about these guys. But there's still one thing that bugs the shit out of me. All those controversies. It's like every few years, there's a new scandal or revelation about some shady shit they've done.
Yeah, that's the thing about the FBI, man.
Yeah.
They're always walking this tightrope between power and accountability, and sometimes they fall off, usually face first.
So are they ever going to get their shit together?
Yeah.
Or are we just going to keep seeing these scandals pop up over and over again?
It's hard to say, man. The FBI is a massive organization. It's bound to have some bad apples, but there are also a lot of good agents out there, people who are dedicated to doing the right thing.
Yeah, but how do you weed out the bad apples? How do you hold them accountable?
That's the million-dollar question. Congress, the courts, watchdog groups, they're all trying to keep the FBI in check, but it's a constant battle, like trying to herd cats.
It's like trying to reform the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
A never-ending cycle of scandals and apologies.
Maybe, but we can't just give up on them. The FBI plays a vital role in our society. We need them to be effective and accountable.
All right, let's take a quick piss break and come back for the final round of this deep dive. We've got more ground to cover.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to this shit. We've talked about all the shady shit the FBI has been involved in, but do these guys ever actually do anything useful? Besides, harassing potheads and collecting fingerprints.
They're not all bad, They actually do some good things, believe it or not.
Okay.
They've got a long history of taking down criminals, from mobsters to terrorists, and they've been instrumental in solving some pretty high-profile cases.
All right, give me some examples. I'm not convinced yet.
Well, let's start with organized crime. The FBI has played a major role in, dismantling the mafia, taking down drug cartels, and disrupting all sorts of criminal enterprises. They've also been on the front lines of the fight against terrorism, foiling plots, and bringing terrorists to justice.
Okay, that's all ancient history. What are they doing these days to justify that massive budget of theirs?
They're dealing with a whole new breed of criminals. Cyber criminals, hackers, online scammers. The FBI has been beefing up their cybersecurity capabilities to combat these digital threats.
Right.
They're also playing a bigger role in fighting human trafficking, which is a growing global problem.
So they're basically playing whack-a-mole with all the new ways criminals are screwing people over.
Pretty much. But they're also trying to be more proactive, working with communities to prevent crime before it happens. They're focusing on building relationships, sharing information, and trying to build trust with the public.
Trust from the FBI. That's a tough sell after all the shit they've pulled.
It's a long road, man. But they're making some progress. They've been more transparent about their operations, releasing documents, holding press conferences, even engaging on social media.
Social media. The FBI's on Twitter. That's hilarious. I can't wait to see what kind of bullshit they're posting.
They're trying to reach a wider audience, trying to show that they're not just some shadowy organization hiding in the dark.
Yeah, good luck with that. But speaking of shadows, let's talk about the FBI's role in intelligence. We talked about all that spying they did during COINTELPRO, but are they still doing that kind of shit? Are they watching us right now?
Intelligence gathering is still a big part of what they do. They've got analysts poring over data, agents running down leads, informants whispering in their ears. They're constantly trying to stay one step ahead of the bad guys.
So they're basically like the CIA, but for domestic threats.
They work closely with the CIA, but their focus is on threats within the United States. They're looking for terrorists, spies, cyber criminals, anyone who might be trying to harm America.
But what about our privacy? Are they just spying on everyone they want, reading our emails, listening to our phone calls?
There are laws and oversight mechanisms in place to prevent that kind of abuse, but it's a delicate balance. The FBI needs to have the tools to do their job, but they also need to respect our constitutional rights.
Yeah, but we both know those laws can be bent and broken when it's convenient. Just look at what happened with COINTELPRO.
That's why it's so important to have strong oversight and accountability. We can't just trust the FBI to police themselves. We need to keep a close eye on them, make sure they're not abusing their power.
So after all this talk about the FBI, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what's the bottom line? Should we trust them? Fear them? Just ignore them and hope they don't come knocking on our doors?
None of the above.
What?
The FBI is a complex organization, a reflection of our society. With all its flaws and contradictions, they have the potential to do great things, to protect us from real threats. But they also have the potential to overstep their bounds, to abuse their power, to become the very thing they're supposed to be fighting against.
So what are we supposed to do? Just sit back and watch the show?
Hell no. We need to stay informed, stay engaged, and hold them accountable. We need to demand transparency, oversight, and respect for our rights. The FBI can be a force for good, but only if we keep them on a short leash.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into the twisted world of the FBI. Thanks for joining us, you sick fucks. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and whatever you do, don't get caught with your pants down.